In this video, we're going to show you how to engage an audience. By the end of this video, you'll be able to engage any audience, anywhere, anytime. First, I'm going to show you something so that you can engage without any additional technology. Next, I'm going to share with you a tool that will help you engage with everyone. I'm going to share something that you can personally do to create more engagement. Then I'm going to share a story with you of how I became the most engaging presentation at a conference. If you want engagement, then engage. Walk out onto the audience. Start before your presentation. Make sure and connect with people out in the audience even before you get on stage, and therefore you can find people that you can engage with much easier later in the presentation. Next, you can start with an exercise. Do something in the first 5 minutes to engage your audience and signal to them that this is going to be an engaging presentation, not just somebody talking on the stage. An easy exercise that you can do is just have people turn to their neighbor about the topic that you're talking about. Let's say it's engagement, and ask them a question such as, what's the most engaging thing they did in the past year? And allow them to talk to their neighbors, and then you can get responses from the audience right after that. One of the points that I have is in my keynotes, sometimes allocate as much as half of the time for the audience to talk, because it's impossible for the audience to be disengaged when they have a mic in their hand and everybody's watching them. The next tip is to never present alone. When you have a large audience, use the advantage of other people to help you engage with that audience. The first person that you want to engage with is your producer or your audio-visual person. Make sure that their audio-visual is clear, that your slides are working correctly, and that they can even do things such as play walk-on music for you or music at a specific time during your presentation. The next thing that you can do is make sure that you're working with somebody in the audience. They can help spot when people may want to talk. They may even be the first person to talk with you in the audience to help make it easier for somebody in the audience to feel comfortable speaking with you later in the program. You're probably wondering who you should choose. Well, sometimes it's someone friendly to you, so they know exactly what you're doing. But also a great tactic is to choose somebody in the audience. It might be the executive director or the CEO, and choose somebody like that, but they know in advance that what question you're going to ask them or how you're going to engage them, so you can make sure that they look great. When you choose somebody like that who's well known in the audience, people again will get the signal to see that it's safe to engage with you in the audience, and now more people may be more likely to volunteer or to want to engage with you later in the presentation. The next way to engage is to make sure that you look good. So make sure and do all the details in your next presentation. Ask simple questions such as, what's in the background? Right? You might ask, what is the lighting? How big is the room? What kind of lighting will be on you? These are all small details that can help you engage with the audience. So for instance, if there is a dark black curtain background, you might want to wear color in that point so you make sure and stand out. As opposed to if you wear black on black, most of your body will disappear and it will be harder for the audience to engage with you. Part of looking good is also looking great. So the more that you dress up and match the style of the audience, the more likely that they're going to find something that they have in common with you. So if it was financial, for instance, a suit or an expensive suit might be a good choice. And if the group is more casual, let's say it was recreational equipment incorporated, then more casual outfit might be the best fit for you. One time I spoke to Nike and I had all Nike gear on that we arranged for that event. And let me tell you, they noticed. So that's another way to engage with your audience. Part of looking good is sounding good. Make sure and do very careful tests in your rehearsals for the audio and make sure that you sound good. Often I also use what's called a countryman or a microphone that comes here that's very close to my mouth no matter which way my head turns. And even if you have a handheld mic, one of our best tips is to make sure that you're as close as possible in a consistent way. One of our tips is to hold the microphone and actually put your thumb so that it's the same distance all the time from the microphone, that you're close so you sound good and nobody can see the thumb behind the microphone. So make sure that when you look good, that you also sound good too. The next tip is air traffic control, which is mean control the audio inside of the room and make sure it's not just you. Look for different times when you can use different audio to engage your audience. Look when you can talk with others. You can use music. You might be able to use videos. But another point that people miss in engagement was the #1 tip from last year is to use variation inside your audio. So things that you can do. You might want to do something quiet. You might want to do something loud. You might go faster in some different parts when you're talking about something else. And other times, you might want to slow down. Every time you change one of these variations, you'll get more engagement for your audience because they'll look and say, what's happening now? What just changed? This tip says get productive with engagement tools. There are so many tools out there now that you can use to engage. It can be simple as a text line, or that you can use things like Mentimeter or Stream Alive or other types of things where people can use their phone to engage with you and the audience. The real key with this is that you can engage with everyone in a very short amount of time, and so that people feel like they are being heard. In addition to that, many of them have displays on the back which will show their votes or the things that they're saying or doing immediately on the screen. Again, making sure that the audience feels like they are heard with the engagement that they invested into you. The last tip I have for you is end on a high note. Think really hard about how you're going to end your presentation and find a way to end on a high note and not just on Q&A or something flat or just handing it back to somebody. Now, where does this come from? We used product market research in a 60-minute demo that if you architect a high note in the last 3 minutes, people are more likely to buy. Your presentation is exactly the same way. So think about all the different ways that you could end on a high note. Get people to reflect on the most important thing that they learned during your presentation. Show a high-end or high-energy video. Look for something interactive to do in those last 3 minutes. But whatever you do, if you end on a high note, people are more likely to invite you back. So let me share a story about how we put these all together. I recently got a chance to keynote at the National Association of Catering and Events. And in this presentation, we were really looking at engagement. So we did all of these techniques. First, we made sure and set up the room in a particular way that was inviting. Number two, I used other people who were also videoing, and they were greeters of people on the way in. Next, there were multiple people greeting people as they came in, and we made sure to not only talk to them, ask them a question, but also introduce them to somebody else inside the room. So we started engaging even before the presentation began. As the presentation began, we customized this talk, of course, for the catering executives, and looked for different ways to engage them. We asked them stories about their best meal, using engagement technology like Stream Alive. In addition to that, we even looked at all the different senses, including the sense of taste. We used a warhead candy, and if you haven't had this candy, it's very sour, and then it becomes very sweet. And so looking at that, we were able to use that candy as a piece of metaphor to talk about doing something different and how sometimes it's uncomfortable at the beginning, and it gets sweeter or easier at the end when you get the payoff. And then finally, we even added customized stories about the best spring roll I had ever eaten. And it was at the restaurant called Alinea, a restaurant known for its molecular gastronomy, or using chemicals to enhance food. And inside of there, we shared this story about how this dish was spread out over 4 courses in the way that it was presented. And what we found out afterwards is that the box used to present this was customized and made specifically for that meal, that one dish only. So in this way, it showed how some of the top chefs are using food to engage their audiences, which related directly to this audience. That's what you can get, and how you can engage your next audience. We got reviews such as, "This is the most engaging presentation at this conference." Those are the kind of reviews that you want to get at your next presentation. If this video has been helpful and you want to take it further, then I have a free gift for you. Normally people pay up to $100 for this masterclass, but I'm going to give it to you for free. When you complete the 6-step to engaging presentations masterclass, you'll be able to engage your audiences immediately. You'll have people tell you that you're one of the top presenters, and you'll get invited to even more presentations after this. So make sure and click to get that.